So I was watching this YouTube video, and it was about storytelling, and the guy said that the number one most important thing about storytelling is having a data bank of a lot of good stories to tell, right? And I was like, okay. The way you knew if a story was worth telling or not was if it emotionally moved you. Sweet, right? Cool. So on that line, something happened last Friday, and I thought it was awesome, so here you go. So I was chilling, and I was at work, and this training program came in, and they were getting trained up, right? So, super cool, whatever. I popped in the training a couple times, see what was up, and there was this one guy named John, super cool guy, very squared away. And John turned out he liked all the stuff I liked, and I was like, well, this guy's awesome, right? Like, I should hang out with this guy. So turns out he likes cool old cars, guns, and dancing, right? I love swing dancing. So what I did was I was like, hey man, there's this call out beginner lesson for swing dance and for salsa, why don't you come out, let's have some fun, right? So he's like, hell yeah. So he comes out, right, and we have a super great time. It was really awesome, right? He's an awesome guy. He was dancing with a bunch of people. He even got a couple girls' numbers. I was like, dang, like I didn't know this guy had confidence too. So we were just, having a lot of fun, and I had a lot of fun talking with him and everything. And then I had to walk one of the girls back to her car, because it's a lot of just make being this nice guy safe and stuff. So, I was out of town, and my girlfriend, I check up on her because she works nearby, and but she wasn't gonna get off like another hour, and I was like, well, do I go home? I'm already here for an hour, So I was like, what? I'll just drive around for a little bit. But then I'm like, hey, there's Five Guys right next door, and I'm kind of hungry, and so I call up my boy John, and I'm like, yo, dude, like, there's Five Guys over here, you still swing dancing, like, why don't we why don't we get some food, what's up? And he's like, hell yeah, brother. So he drives down, and me and John, we were getting some food, and so we're chilling, and me and John are just talking, about guns and stuff he did back in the day and stuff I did back in the day. And turns out we're super, we got a lot of things in common, right? And it was like, unlike most people, when you're talking to them, you gotta like think. With me and John, it was just like a boat in the ocean, dude. It was smooth sailing, easy money, no big deal. And then later on, Kat comes by, and then even the three of us are talking. A lot of fun, right? Really good time, epic. Well, it's getting late out, right? And it was time for me to slide out. So me and Kat. Oh, I should mention one of the things we were talking about too, what I thought was awesome, was that he got a couple girls' numbers, and whatever he was doing with them doesn't really matter, but I can appreciate the confidence it takes for a man to get some numbers, especially who's only been there for like 2 dang days, right? Like, he's getting after it. Respect. So, it ends, and me and Kat, we tell him, like, hey, see you around, right? And he was nice enough. He's like, no, so, we're eating Five Guys, and there's a bunch of, like, just junk laying on our table, and like, oh, I'll take care of that. He's like, no, I'll take care of that. Don't worry about it. And I was just like, thanks, bro. I appreciate that. You made me really happy and stuff, as you can imagine. And so me and Kat, even when I insisted, he was like, no, it's me today. It's me. So we're chilling, and me and Kat leave, and me and Kat are just glowing, like, oh, he did that, that was cool, and he did that, that was cool. Like, this guy's really awesome. He's traveling around, right? He's travels a lot for work, but we're thinking, like, man, wouldn't it be cool if he actually moved over here to where I live? Like, that would be awesome, right? Because we were talking about that a little bit in the conversation. And then there was one thing I didn't like about him, though, right? And just before I said something like, oh yeah, but he might be a little sleep around with some chicks, and like, we need to help him get more base because that's bad, right? Some stupid shit like that, right? Just before I said that, John was right behind us, and he was like, oh, hey, what's up? And we're like, oh, what's going on? Well, of course I was like, right, but I was like, oh, hey, what's up, dude? And so we're talking and everything, and and then I put Kat between us, and then I told my girl to put her arms out, and then all three of us put our arms out, you know what I mean? And then we lock arms, and then we're skipping and hopping down the street to the song of the Lollipop Girls or Boys or whatever it was, right? Really fun, and it turns out the reason he was behind us was his truck was like a couple yards over there or whatever, right? But it was in the same direction as us. So we just hop and skip out to his truck, and I give him a little swing dance dip, and call it a day. So that was cool. That happened, and I was thinking about it as we were walking back. I'm like, would that how that would have gone if I was being a little bitch and complaining? I kind of doubt it, right? And I was thinking about the best book, potentially third best book ever made, How to Win Friends and Influence People. I love this thing. And in chapter 1 is don't criticize, condemn, or complain, right? Wow, it's who would have thought, right? Not me, apparently. And then in chapter 4, part 1, it says if you do have to criticize, here's how you do it in a nice way, right? And what I should have said was something like, John's a really cool guy. He's got a lot of confidence with women. I bet if we had some one of our single church girl friends, that was free, right? We could hook them up together. Maybe they'd have a lot of fun. It would help them, get closer to the Lord, right? Something like that, whatever. Because if he came up with that, he'd be like, oh, this guy, cares about me. How awesome is that? That's not what I was going to say. Because if I said what I was thinking about saying, he probably would have been like, well, fuck this guy. He's just a little backstabbing piece of shit, right? And I learned that, and I was like, wow, maybe I really shouldn't condemn, criticize, or complain, and just speak people up, or show that I care. Because what else are we doing here, right? See ya.